John, we're going to talk about the planning process in retail, and many people perceive that as difficult and complex, but you have a very simple way of explaining it.
Yes, yeah. So at IKEA, for example, where I used to work, the founder, Ansgar John Brenninkmeijer, he said to his planning department, what the hell are percentages anyway? And he had a different approach to it. And this is also what they call in German the Deckungsbeitrag approach.
Deckungsbeitrag.
Yeah. So first I'll show the...
What's the German word for approach?
Methode, I'm not sure.
Carry on.
In Germany, when I showed it to somebody in Austria in the Vienna office, he put his finger up on the report, he looked at me and said, Genau das.
Genau
das. So this is the percentage approach to the profit and loss, where you have...
He's going to show it in a minute.
Yeah. Where you have sales as your top line.
Right. So you sell your products.
Yeah, sales.
Right.
And then you subtract cost of goods sold, COGS.
And that's the money you pay to the factory.
To the factory, yeah.
Right.
And that is subtracted.
Of course.
So
that's somebody else's
sales
money.
Minus cost of goods sold. And that gives you your margin. And in this case, your gross margin. So the G, gross margin, sales minus cost of goods sold is gross margin.
And with your gross margin, you pay the salaries and the rent and etc.
Yeah, so all your expenses, your operating expenses, your capital expenses, and so forth. So that's the minus. Right. So gross margin minus expenses gives you your net profit.
And net profit is what you really have left over at the end.
Yeah, that's what you have left over at the end. So my cousin Michael, who used to run C&A Netherlands, he said, I don't care about the gross margin, I care about the net margin, the net profit. That's the thing you care about. But the problem becomes in your planning that you say the gross margin has to be a certain percentage X to be able to cover the expenses Y.
Right.
And
that sounds logical.
Yeah, it does. But the percentages, they don't add up. So in the first example we had a low margin article with more euros.
Yeah, you made it very clear.
Yeah. So let's look at the counting money framework. So we have comparing margins framework, counting money framework.
Right.
And there, the top line is the money that goes to the store. And the money that goes to the store is called gross profit dollars.
Money that goes to the store is called gross profit dollars.
Yes.
Or euros.
Yeah. So the gross profit dollars. So you could also say gross margin dollars.
Right.
And in German, they would call that the Deckungsbeitrag.
Okay.
And then we subtract the expenses of the store.
Right.
And the expenses of overhead and so on and so forth.
Right.
So that's subtracted. The gross profit minus operating expenses, capital expenses, gives you the net profit.
Yes.
In dollars. And so when you're making a choice between different articles, like we had in the first example, we had the 150 gross profit,
right,
or the €2 gross profit. And when you choose 150 instead of €2,
things go wrong, right,
and you have an opportunity cost. And so opportunity cost is the point to try to get as much gross profit dollars as possible to cover your expenses.
Okay.
And then what's interesting is you also have something that internet retailers often call gross merchandise volume.
Right.
And gross merchandise volume has an abbreviation, which is GMV. And gross merchandise volume is the amount of money that's gone through the store in total. And that's what the normal bricks retailer refers to as sales.
Right.
But in the comparing money framework, sales, in other words, gross merchandise volume, is just a footnote in your profit and loss.
Right.
And
Right.
companies like Takeaway, for example, that delivers pizza,
Yeah.
they don't say 20 euros, so the pizza is our sales, but they say our sales, what goes to Takeaway, is just 2 out of 20 euros. So
Right.
that's the top line, the gross
Right.
profit.
Yeah.
So this is comparing margins, and this is counting money. And C&A is counting money from 1906 to the 1990s. And if you count money and you focus on money, you tend to make money.
Okay, there's a very wise lesson.
Thank you very much, Benno.